foreign soldiers, hired guns, private contractors with little to no ethics. The mercenaries of the zone are a secretive but deadly bunch. Being formed from experienced fighters from all walks of life, the mercenaries are spread out across the zone, working ruthlessly to achieve their mysterious employer's goals. You'll come face to face with mercenaries across all three S.T.A.L.K.E.R games, but on varying terms each time. In Shadow of Chernobyl, you come across mercenaries in wild territory, army warehouses, the cordon, and Pripyat. The only notable leader you encounter is Wolfhound, the mercenary squad leader attacking the ecologists in wild territory. This is a part of a main quest where you have to rescue Krugelov. You have to fight Wolfhound and his Mercs as they're already hostile to you. Although I'd like to mention that in the original S.T.A.L.K.E.R story and mods that restore the old content, Wolfhound and his group are actually freedomers and you can choose sides during the shootout. The only other unique mercenary individual in the zone is Ara. If you work with Freedom, you'll receive a mission from Lukash to track down a Freedomer who has been snitching and selling information. You'll have to take down the snitch Ara and his crew to complete this mission. In wild territory and army warehouses, you'll constantly encounter groups of mercenaries throughout your travels. When you gain access to Pripyat, there'll be a squad of Mercs trying to venture deeper, but it's likely they die from either the loners or Monolith. They also make a unique appearance in the Cordon later on in the game. With Fnatic replacing Wolf as the leader of the Cordon, Fnatic offers you a unique mission. He requests your aid in defending the rookie village from a group of attacking mercenaries, with the intent of turning into a base of operations. That's the extent of mercenary activity in Shadow of Chernobyl, but I want to talk about the cut content that is Dead City. Not because I consider it canon, but because I feel it has a sizable amount of information that we can use to know more about the Mercs. In previous unreleased builds of the game, you would be captured by mercenaries and taken to Dead City, where you'd meet Doc, who was also captive. Along with escaping, you would have to fight Dushman, the leader of the mercenaries in the zone, to retrieve valuable documents. There's documents in the vanilla game pointing to mercenaries having a headquarters deeper into the zone. Given Dushman is meant to be the head mercenary leader, it makes sense that Dead City is this headquarters, but it wasn't ultimately featured in the game. You would also have to retrieve a map from Borzij, a bandit leader in Dead City. Mercenaries and bandits were said to be sharing the area together, which makes sense considering in my bandits video I spoke of the bandits buying the mercenaries' peace. Given they're also neutral to each other in wild territory, the two factions are in general cooperating with each other on a wide scale. I feel this kinda tells us that in Shadow of Chernobyl, both factions have sole leadership and lack nuance like the loners. Although in both S.T.A.L.K.E.R and Call of Pripyat, we get to see a great variety of mercenary groups varying in objectives and hospitality. The Mercenary Faction and subgroups are a lot different for S.T.A.L.K.E.R, especially given that a player protagonist is a mercenary himself, who is hired to guide ecologists around the Great Swamp, with him being the only one to survive in a mission. That's where the story of S.T.A.L.K.E.R begins. There's not much else to talk about in terms of S.T.A.L.K.E.R being a mercenary, but there'll be a lot to talk about him later on in the lore videos for S.T.A.L.K.E.R and the Sea Consciousness. He'll also likely have his own as well. In S.T.A.L.K.E.R, mercenaries are typically a neutral faction, unlike their Shadow of Chernobyl successors. This is for most part because most of the mercenary group's missions do not conflict with other factions, as they're often busy searching for rare artifacts on their own. As you proceed along the storyline, you'll meet Hog in the Bloodsucker village in the center of army warehouses. He's the leader of a sizable mercenary group tasked with finding a rare artifact. The squad he sent out, led by Leshy, was lost during an mission who were trapped within a spatial anomaly. Hog entrusts you to find Leshy, as if they fail their mission, they will likely never be employed as mercenaries within the zone again. After you rescue Leshy, he'll aid you and S.T.A.L.K.E.R in securing Red Forest and the route to Lemansk. That's the extent of the mercenaries in S.T.A.L.K.E.R. Not as large or aggressive as the ones in Shadow of Chernobyl, but they show more nuance and character. As we move on to Call of Pripyat, we get to see how although the mercenaries are widely spread out into several squads, they're all working towards the same goal under their leader Jackal, with the mercenaries' objectives being either simple or unknown in the previous two games. The mercenaries in Call of Pripyat are working on a large, ambitious ploy. The mercenaries are working towards recovering secret documents from X8. As a result, they directly conflict with your plans as S.T.A.L.K.E.R, as well as conflict with the plans of the ecologists, which one group of Mercs happen to be pretending to work for. First off, we have Hook and Ridge in Zaton, They're the leaders of a Merc group camped out in the waste processing station. They're not instantly hostile to you, but not friendly either. Trespassing too long will cause them to be hostile. S.T.A.L.K.E.R, like with all Mercs, hires you to retrieve their PDAs for precious information. You learn from the PDAs that have been waiting to receive a weapon shipment from none other than Duty's Quartermaster Morgan. We learned from my bandit video that not only does he do dirty deals with Sultan, but now the Mercs too. Next we have Hatchet's Merc group, which is camped in the substation workshop in Zaton. He halts a player and requests you to get his group 6 of any food to make up for his lost rations. Doing so will gain you access to his camp, where you can find some fine tools nearby. Although initially a part of Jackal's crew, Hatchet and his men have gone rogue and refused to move from this position. You can later on offer them the job to work as guards for Herman's bunker after Black and his group leave. Speaking of Black, he appears to have forced the Yanov ecologists into accepting them as their protection. He constantly pesters the ecologists about their research and refuses to escort T'Pol on his journeys from the lab. A part of Black's team is Skull. There's not much to say about him except that he's from Shadow of Chernobyl. He was the squad leader who disobeyed Veronan's orders to attack Freedom in the army warehouses. I guess mercenary work suited him better. Later on, as you leave the Jupiter factory with the administrative documents with information on the Gauss rifle, Black will attack you with his group in order to retrieve him. Once you get back to Herman, you can tell him what happened and hand over Black's PDA. The PDA talks of how Jackal had an acquaintance who would recommend Black to be the ecologist bunker guards, and how this would offer a good opportunity to prevent the scientists gaining access to any information regarding the X-Labs. It's worth noting that Hatchet is the only mercenary in Call of Pripyat to be a notably nice person to the player, given his departing of Jackal's mission, hospitality to the player, and willingness to guard the ecologists. It goes to show that not all Mercs at this point are cutthroats, and some are just looking for a genuine, honest job instead. Now with all the Merc squads covered, we can move on to the Merc leadership of Jackal and Serban. Your final interaction with the mercenaries in Call of Pripyat is during the mission One Shot, a mission assigned to you by Colonel Kowalski. You learn that Gary has been forced by some mercenaries to escort them into Pripyat, unwillingly being made to escort Jackal along with Serban, the employer of the Mercs and likely a part of a research institute rivaling the ecologists. In the mission, you have the opportunity to assassinate both characters, crippling the Mercs' operation in the zone. Like with most other factions, I feel Call of Pripyat does the best at fleshing out the factions in terms of depth and nuance. In Call of Pripyat, you get some friendly mercenaries and some hostile ones. Some that just want a job and others that are willing to do anything for the job they've been given. The partnership between Jackal and Serban goes to show how the zone can still be subject to foreign influence. In Shadow of Chernobyl, the mercenaries lack depth given the cut content of Dead City. All we know is that they're well armed and after valuable information that ecologists have, as well as information from Freedom. In regards to the ecologists, it's easy to understand why. It's likely that the same group that Serban is with would be present in Shadow of Chernobyl given it's only a few months before Call of Pripyat. They want the information and don't want the government-funded ecologists to have it. With a Freedom information buying in Shadow of Chernobyl and Clear Sky, it's likely Mercs are purchasing it to gain a tactical advantage prior to attack, as both Dark Valley and army warehouses would serve as good bases. Clear Sky also improves upon mercenaries given Hogg's group, where he and Leshy contribute a small part towards the progression of a main storyline. It shows how mercenaries are capable of cooperating with stalkers in order to achieve their goals, but they can't achieve everything on their own or through bloodshed. Mercenaries are one of my favourite factions just simply for the premise of why they're here in the zone. Groups of ex-military operatives selling their services to the highest bidder. I do wish that there were as many Mercs in Shadow of Chernobyl and Clear Sky as there were in Call of Pripyat though. They're a mysterious yet powerful faction. Call of Pripyat showed how they were always present but never in the limelight, until they're ready to spring their master plan. I feel we could have seen more of this if the Dead City content didn't get cut for Shadow of Chernobyl. What topic would you like me to cover in my next Stalker lore video? I'm keen to keep on going with your support. If you're new, I suggest subscribing to the channel to keep up to date with new videos. I'm Al, and as always, thanks for watching.